Are you excited? Are you elated? Are you exhausted? Because Manchester United just wiped the floor with Manchester City by 2-0, and it should have been at least 5 if it wasn't for the offside flag. There have been dark days as a United fan, especially in recent times, but that was arguably the greatest performance since May 2013. Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt said that Martinez couldn't handle Haaland. Haaland was non-existent so much that he got subbed off. Everybody thought that United, because of the clowns upstairs, Ratcliffe might not know what he's doing. Wilcox may be a shadow of a man as a director of football, but none of that matters. Michael Carrick might have been in the job for only 2 minutes, but who cares? Because we've now got a resounding victory against them noisy bastard neighbours who may have 115 charges and all the world's wealth. But you know what? We won today, 2-0. Manchester United, we might not be back, but I'm celebrating like we are. And to do so, I'm joined by RH and Finn.
That's class.
I'm knackered.
I think you said it all there.
Brilliant.
Are we happy?
Fantastic,
Yeah, a little
that.
bit, yeah.
That was as good as the performance on the pitch.
Oscar,
Yeah,
did
man,
they do
honestly,
Oscars
Just
and
matched the
stuff
whole
like
the energy that the team brought. That was amazing.
that? Oh, thank you very much, lad.
Beautiful, beautifully delivered.
Finn, tell us about the game.
Yeah, I am absolutely over the moon. Honestly, can't fault anything about that performance. We were saying before the game, obviously my prediction was a 2-1 victory, but we also said, you know what, a draw here wouldn't be the end of the world. It wouldn't be the worst result. I think the expectations were fairly low. Carrick coming in, don't want to put too much pressure on him. He's only had a couple of sessions, so I don't think any of us were expecting miracles or, you know, an incredible performance. But I think it was absolutely spot on. It was far more than I expected, and yeah, just the application from every single player across the team was amazing. It was, you know, every player was playing for the badge, really putting their all in, and the levels, it was everyone put 101% in, and it was spot on.
Yeah, RH, how are you feeling now? Let's go back to getting beat by Everton with 10 men, and how you are now. What is this day?
I think it, again, to the Manchester United fans, this day means everything. You know, playing against Manchester City is a huge game. I think, like Finn's just said there, at the start of the game, myself in particular, you would take a draw. I think, again, the information that we said in the studio about going out there, winning your personal battles, staying, you know, defensively strong, in your shape, everything from the technical element to the shape to the down to the 1v1 situation. Every player on that pitch can walk off that pitch going, you know what, I gave 110%. Everyone was a solid 8 out of 10. I know players might have dropped below that, so certain people, but as a collective, as a performance, energy levels on the front foot, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And that's the Manchester United team we want to see. And full credit to Michael Carrick and his staff. I know they've only been in the job 2 minutes, like we said, so the expectation wasn't there, but you can clearly see by the way that they defended and kept the shape and they were structured that they have been working on certain things, and everyone's bought into it. The fans, the atmosphere, it sounded electric in there, and the lads, you know, in the interviews at the end, they said focus on people's feelings and play off people's feelings, and the lads come up top trumps. Brilliant performance. Yeah,
it certainly was. And the thing is that the personnel on the pitch hasn't changed, Finn. Obviously the formation did, and it's difficult to pinpoint it because we've been so bad. But now today it was just like, as a performance, I think I said in that little rant, I can't remember the last time we over 90 minutes played so well. Is there any one thing that you can try and put it down to?
I think it is just that kind of new spark of effort and application, and everyone put their all in. Obviously having Mbumo and Ahmad back from AFCON is a huge boost. We know the quality that they bring in the final third, and we saw that. Mbumo's goal was fantastic, the way he took it kind of across his body and then finished first time. It was superb, and he actually played a role in getting the ball up the pitch earlier on. But I think across the pitch you could see that the players really bought into the ideas. And, you know, like we said, it wasn't anything revolutionary, but it was that kind of cohesive team effort. Like I said, everyone put in at least an 8 out of 10. And yeah, we kept things simple, kept things ticking. The counter attacks were fantastic. There was so much threat that we provided on the counter, and yeah, I just think it was spot on, to be honest. I'm kind of lost for words at how well this went.
Yeah, it was as perfect a performance.
I can't fault anything.
The only downside could probably be the offside goals, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. It could have been 4, 5, 6. You know, we could have scored many more goals. A couple of those offside goals, just a matter of fine margins. But yeah, the application and the effort put in was just spot on.
Yeah, and I think in the past we've had great results against like the likes of Arsenal or Liverpool, and we've beat City. But a lot of them games have been against the run of play. We've stole victories against those teams that are above us in the league, as well as in terms of the players that I've got available. Today, it wasn't that though, was it? It was very much that we went toe to toe and we were fearful beforehand, but we deserved to win that game, RH.
No, definitely. I think at the start of the game we all said, didn't we? We expect Manchester City to have a lot of the ball and dictate. But I think, again, it goes down to the shape and the lads being patient and when and where to go and press aggressively on the front foot. And I think on the ball, we had more chances. We had more shots on target. Donnarumma's made some fantastic save. We've had 3 offside goals. We've created chances. And we could probably have took more chances. The Bruno one where he's tried to reverse pass it to Mbeumo. But again, overall, it's not rocket science. We wanted a lot more than what they did today. Yeah. They kept the shape. They was disciplined, resolute. But for man, we was better than them all over the pitch. And I think, again, it's not rocket science. And I think that spark and that enthusiasm, as well as the quality that they've got, they can have a real good go and go toe to toe. Manchester City are no mugs. They're a fantastic side. I think they isolated the 2 young lads in the first half really well. Obviously, they made the changes at half time, but really, they never looked a massive threat. They had a lot of the ball. There's a few moments, but they defended very, very well. Very impressed with the performance overall from everybody. Yeah,
I think I was right. And they've got 1 shot on target the whole game, and then that was a Lammen save to that with, I think, the little help of Delo. But it's just astounding that we could have won that game 5-0.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like...
And it wouldn't have felt undeserved to do so.
Exactly. It doesn't feel like one of those performances that you reference where, we scrape a kind of undeserving win, maybe a lucky counter-attacking goal when we haven't actually played well. But the performance was so good that I think we deserve every single bit of that victory. We limited them to absolute scraps for the whole 90. And for a team that have so much quality, you look at their starting lineup with Doku, Haaland, Semenyo, the likes of Shirky coming off the bench. To keep that set of attacking players quiet the way we did was unbelievable. So I think that has to be credited where it's due. Like, we ended the game with 2 XG to their 0.45. XG is never the be all and end all, but it shows that despite City having the majority of possession, they had 68% possession. That doesn't really matter at the end of the day if they're not going to make chances out of it and if we're going to defend the way we did. So, yeah, it's just spot on.
Yeah, I mean, I could sing the praises of pretty much all the players. We'll go through a few. I know you mentioned there, Finn, Doggy, but I think before the game, you were a little bit sort of sceptical. And you won't have been alone in terms of, like, he was starting the game very high up in the position. He was, Sesko was dropped. So there was a lot of people looking at the lineup and thinking, there was a lot of pessimism, you know, and I mean, if anyone proved any criticism wrong today, it was Dorgu.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. At the start of the game, I was very surprised that he was included in the lineup. I thought Ahmad and Mbeumo would be in, and with the form that Sesko has been in, I thought he would have kept his shirt. But again, credit where credit's due. I said what I said at the start of the game, but I thought it was absolutely fantastic from the technical ability, keeping the ball, great decision making off the ball. I thought it was an absolute machine. He got himself in some fantastic positions. I thought he was absolutely fantastic today, and he proved why he started in that football match. And again, that's again, I've said it on the watch along. That's the standards that we've set as a team. We know we can play at that level now, and that can't drop. And even him individually, like that, is shown to the Manchester United fans, and in particular me, who had that opinion about him starting the game, what he really can do. So fair play, and that's what football's all about. It's a game of opinions, and he's proved me wrong today.
Yeah, and speaking of opinions, obviously Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes were quite vocal about Martinez's inability to, keep hold of Haaland, but I thought the partnership between him and Maguire was exceptional today. Fair clean sheet.
Yeah, I think what we saw a little bit was that experience that they both have relative to some of the younger options like Aiden Heaven and Lenny Yoro, who've played a lot more recently. I'm a big fan of both of them, but I think seeing Maguire come in alongside Martinez, they were very sure of their responsibilities, their roles. They clearly communicated really well and stayed concentrated throughout that whole 90 minutes. Martinez was asked in the post-match interviews there, how did you deal with Haaland, especially with that height difference? And he said it was all about that kind of concentration, making sure that he's aware of himself at all times and aware of who's around him, aware of his responsibilities as a defender. And he got it spot on. He was always in the right position, didn't get caught out, made a lot of really crucial interventions and blocks, and you saw that aggression that you always expect from Martinez, and I think that pushes on the players around him. You know, it's kind of it's contagious, that aggression and that fight that he shows, and it's why he's a really good leader, and it's why he's respected in that dressing room, because he shows exactly what it means to be a United player and to represent the badge. So the defensive performance, especially from those two centre-backs, was spot on. And then to see someone like Aidan Heaven with less responsibility coming off the bench to help shore things up at the end, I think that really works in everyone's favour. So pleased with the defenders.
Yeah, I mean, you made the word there, contagious, and I think that what happened because of the accountability being everyone and stood up to be counted is that, you know, it knocks on. If they see they're pulling weight in defence, and the midfield wants to do the same thing, and it was just as a collective, it really was an inspiring performance. Mainu got a 90 minutes that he's been wanting since under Amorim, and obviously the midfield worked really well together with Fernandes, pushed higher up, which he'd prefer. What did you make of that, RH?
I think Casemiro, fantastic, very disciplined, you know, protection of the back four, read the game really well, kept it simple, didn't overcomplicate, and that's where he's at his best. I thought Bruno Fernandes was fantastic, so that energy and being around Rodri and making sure he wasn't dictating play, and when he was on the ball, we see him for the goal, the weight of passes and the creative spark that Bruno has. But Kobbie Mainoo, fantastic. It was great to see him get a start, and for me, you know, he kept his shirt. He done a fantastic job. I think that team there have set a precedent, and for Michael Carrick, I'll be very, very pleased in the dressing room with every individual. Yeah, you can pick apart a few mistakes from certain players, but as a collective, I thought they'd done the job, and it was fantastic and very worth the value of win.
Yeah,
in a Manchester derby.
Certainly is. There's 3,000 of you watching. Come on, get the likes. There's only 245 likes. I'll read out some of the super chats. Martinez was outstanding, as was the whole defence. Impressive how the attack found space too. City were average and United were brilliant. That's from Marcus Jackson 9076. Another super chat. Parag 32. We've had scrappy wins over City before, but this was total dominance. Totally outplayed them. Could have easily been 5. It just looks like it was a completely different side. That's, you know, when I was trying to be optimistic during the terrible games versus West Ham and stuff, but to watch that, if you weren't to know what the players are putting in a different kit, you wouldn't know that was the same team, would you, Finn? It was just so completely at odds with what we've seen.
Absolutely night and day from what we've seen for basically the whole season. Obviously, we've got results here and there, and some better performances than others, but this was just a completely different level of a really complete, respectable performance from start to finish. And you know, obviously people are going to ask the questions, where's this been the whole time, why couldn't they produce this throughout the season? But I think we just got to be happy that they did produce it today, and hopefully kick on and look at that as the standard to say, look, you've done yourselves proud today, that's the standard we expect from you as Manchester United players. And I think there's no one better than someone like Michael Carrick, who's been there when United were winning things, to help enforce those standards and to help make sure that they continue for the rest of the season. So yeah, it's easy to look back and say, where was this? But I think we just got to look forward and try and maintain that and build on what was a fantastic performance.
It certainly was, and we won't look back, we will look forward. We were talking before kick-off about Champions League places. Manchester United actually have dots underneath their arse in the league table now. We're in the Champions, we're 4th as it stands. It's not beyond the realms of possibility. If we just beat Manchester City, we've got some tin pot club called Arsenal next, you know, and then after that, exactly who?
And new ones
promoted. I mean, any team that's got arse in the name won't really fear them, would you? And then, so, you know, 16 games, I think Champions League.
I think, again, if they've set the standards now, aren't they? Even though it's a Manchester derby, I think if they stick to that high press, that high volume, that discipline in the structure, out of possession, as well as taking the chances. Again, I know it's one game and we don't need to get carried away, but again, you've just got to treat every game as a separate game and go out and give 110%. And again, feed off the energy. The lad said, you know, in the post-match interview, the energy of the fans, feed off them. Manchester United fans are fantastic. We get behind them, and they need to feed off that. And again, if they're giving 110%, the lads, that's all they can ask for. I thought it was a fantastic performance, and they have to build on that now.
Yeah, Champions League football for us, do you reckon? If we carry on like that?
Why not? Obviously, got to get past Arsenal, but I think that could be even more challenging than today. But if we've shown anything, it's that we have the tools to beat pretty much anyone. So I think, why not set our sights at Champions League football and really go for it? Because you could, by the summer, be looking at a very different Manchester United.
My face is hurting
From smiling.
Smiling.
It's
It's like,
wrinkles.
this is a strange feeling to have my cheeks so high up. I'll just read the last one of these super chats. I don't care if I'm giddy and reactionary. Give him the contract now. Let him sign whatever he wants. Michael is at the wheel. Boys, amazing game. Just want to say thank you for everyone that's watched this show and watched the watch along. It's easily been my most enjoyable. There was a meme going around, before today about not every watch along I go on, United tend to lose. So whoever made that, I'd like to say ha. And if you're a United fan out there, and we've had a lot of terrible games, and we've had to swim through some shit like it was a Shawshank Redemption, but now we've beat Manchester City. If we're gonna moan when things are bad, then I hope that you have the best weekend and celebrate like it's 1999, because I am buzzing like it is. Yes, it was a one-off game in the Premier League, 3 points, I don't care. I've been Scotty, that's been RH, that's been Finn. Thanks to producer Harry and producer Ben. Manchester United beat Manchester City 2-0. We're fourth in the league. Nothing else to say.